Hello, y'all on YouTube. This is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a very special Rob's Rambling on a topic that, I don't know, might be of interest to you. It's probably more from my perspective than any other perspective, and you may or may not agree with it, but I figured I'd share it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and where you're at. You may have a different perspective, and you may be in a different position where it doesn't really matter for you, and you have a different view on this and a different approach to this. But my topic today is pre orders and waiting and other things that may frustrate you when you're attempting to find a knife or order a knife or get a knife, right? So, my perspective on that, is probably based out of some experiences I've had. I've done some pre orders. Some of them have been not terrible, but they were quite a bit at a long time. And me waiting 3 months to 6 months, it was really an excessive amount of time. And then some of them, after I got in on the pre-order, or at least the pre-order was there, and I saw that it was like a year out or a year and a half out. I was like, no, no, I'm not doing that. I'm out. So I've just decided I'm not going to do that. And what probably set that in stone is probably my experience on the Urban EDC LC, the one that's a Trevor Berger Design, I believe is his name. It's Trevor Berger Design. He has some custom knives that you can buy now from Urban EDC. They're like $800. Gorgeous. Love to get one of those. Matter of fact, I'd love to get the one from Knife Joy. That's the XL version. That's the one I would love to get. But again, it's out of my budget. It's out of my cost, out of my range of any knife I can afford. But absolutely gorgeous knife. I would love to get a hold of that. But I would need to, I would need a 1 or 2 year payment plan on that puppy. But that being said, pre-orders because of that Urban EDC LC. I just recently got a email saying, "Hey, we're going to confirm your address because it looks like the knife's going to be coming in and we're going to be shipping them out." So I figure I'll probably get it still, maybe a month out or so, maybe a little less. I don't know. I'm hoping that means it's within the month, but that's over a year ago. And a year of waiting for a knife that I still very much want and looks really cool and I'm really excited about. And quite honestly, I've had a lot of hype about it now, waiting so long. I feel like I'm going to be set up for disappointment. I think I've built this knife up to be more than it really is, and when I get it, I'm probably going to be disappointed. And I don't want to be in that boat. I don't want to be pre-ordering something that I'm not willing to wait for or have to wait so long that you forget why you even pre-ordered it, right? It's not because I'm impatient. You could say I'm impatient. Maybe some of you guys aren't, but I don't have the funds to buy 30, 40, 50 knives a month where I could have 5 or 10 pre-orders out there and forget about them because I'm getting so many other knives in that, it's a nice surprise 6 months or a year down the road. I don't have those funds. Maybe you do and you're in a different boat. That's awesome. I envy you and I commend you on your wonderful knife experiences that I will probably never have. But this is my experience and this is my journey. And, few people seem to have similar experiences or can relate to some of my experiences, at least at one point in their life, or maybe be having those experiences as their knife journey is progressing, right? So, you know, that Urban EDC, I'm looking forward to it, but it's one of those I've waited over a year. I really don't want to be in the pre-order waiting boat anymore. I'm kind of done with that, right? If there's a pre-order to order it maybe a little bit early, like a month early, and it's a similar design to something I know and a designer I know, and it's just maybe a modified version of another version, something I'm very confident. Sure, I'm okay with that. But pre-orders are just really not for me, and that long waiting game is not for me. Um, this is just not my cup of tea. For instance, here's one: the Brian Brown Raptor version 2. There was pre-orders for this. I didn't really know about it, but as soon as it dropped and it was available, I bought this. I was super excited to get this. Now, he had some pre-orders that you probably got early, and I'm sure it had some special stuff on there, but the one I bought was a rec exclusive, the River's Edge Cutlery. This is with the zirconium thumb stud, zirconium pivot, zirconium zirconium washer on the pivot, zirconium deep milled pocket care clip, and zirconium backspacer. Beautiful, beautiful knife, nice accents. That's about as crazy as I'll go. I'm not into the mokutai, zirkutai, and all that other stuff. I do have one knife with fire anodized backspacer and a clip, but it's very subtle. I like it, and it's not so dominant that it stands out. Now I know, great knife YouTube channels like Metal Complex. I follow him. I'm a member. I'm a Patreon of his. I love the guy. I love his stuff. I love his content. He's just really neat. I respect the guy. I don't always agree with him, and that's okay. I don't think he would. I don't think he's bothered at all that if I don't agree with him, and he will most likely not agree with me, and that's okay too. But I learned so much from him, and that's what I enjoy. I learn from his experiences and his journey and things he's gone through and things that he sees. To me, he's opened up my perspective to certain knives I would never even consider, and so I appreciate that, right? But he's okay with pre-order. He's okay with all of that stuff, and for me, I'm not. I wouldn't wait for all this other stuff and the Zircuitai and the Mokutai and all this other stuff. He likes all that stuff. I'm gonna go with the basics, right? So, again, when it comes to pre-ordering, again, there's these things where people will they're okay with that, and they're okay with waiting. I want to know that the knife has been out. People are comfortable with it. People have used it. It's a good knife, and they're willing to. I'd be willing to order it, right? So, for instance, like the TRM Atom, you couldn't really pre-order it, but you had to wait and get it. When I finally got it, I was super excited, right? But there's no pre-orders for this one. This would have been a cool pre-order to get, but there was no such thing as a pre-order for that. Now, Leon Ma, a lot of his stuff is pre-order, and you can get it early when it first released. But I tell you, I don't know if I would wait. For instance, he had a recent one, a knife that looks really cool. Had a little controversy, but I think all that stuff's been cleared up and stuff. But I don't even want to talk about that because I'm not part of it, and everyone makes mistakes. Everyone learns from their mistakes. People become better. I love the knife community because you can make mistakes. People can forgive you for mistakes. You can say I screwed up, and people can get on with their life and still appreciate the design and the creativity of what you are able to do and accomplish. And that's where I'm at. And so I appreciate Leon Ma's design, and I love this GSD version too. It's Get Stuff Done. It really stands for Get Ship A Done, but change that P with a T. That's really the name of the knife. But I don't want to get my channel flagged for that, so I'm just not going to say it. So, but this design, I loved. I saw it. I love this flat grind with a small swedge, this beautiful, elegant hand rubbed satin finish. Just really, really like this, and the action is just phenomenal on this knife. I love everything about it. Multiple deployments with the fuller, just a really great knife. But you could have pre-ordered this, but I don't think I would have waited the 6 months or a year for that. He had inventory available and he ordered enough, so I bought this. I was very excited to get this, and the other knife that was on pre-order for a very long time, I would probably buy it if he has extra inventory available, and there's stuff there for me to buy, so I would do that. I noticed in my Micarta, I'm not a Micarta fan, so I would never buy that. It would have to be carbon fiber or all titanium if I was going to do it. But that being said, those are pre-orders I wouldn't wait for. Now, here's one that I was able to buy before it went out of stock. This one right here. This is the Kunwu Knives Tau S, and you can get this. You could have gotten this knife. It was still available when I saw these reviews and how great it was, and I ordered it. Right after ordered it, it became out of inventory, but they went ahead and are rebuilding them or redoing them more. And you can do a pre-order. Now it's 3 months out, and with 3 months out, you get a $30 discount or something. It was a pretty good deal off the regular price, right? So if you were able to get that. So they ordered some more with a 3-month turnaround. Now, if I really like this knife and I had one of the other Kunwu knives already, a 3-month turnaround for a knife this quality and the builder who makes this stuff, I would have pre-ordered. For instance, they had the Pulsar. I missed their pre-order. If I had known about the pre-order, if I'd gotten in on it in time when I finally saw it was available, I missed it. It closed. I would have pre-ordered it. It was about 3 months out. And then I would have gotten one of the early Pulsars. But here's the good news. These guys make a bunch of extra orders, and they had extra inventory. So when it came out and it dropped, I was able to order one. So I've got one on order coming in. I'm excited about that. And that's, to me, it's like if you got a good knife and a good design like that, make some where there's a decent amount of inventory where someone can come in there, hopefully within an hour, and order one, right? I'm not asking you to have enough inventory where it's going to take you a year to get rid of that inventory because that's a high risk and a lot of money investment that you're tying up in inventory. I get that, especially if you're young and new in the company. But that's, you know, to me that's reasonable, and I would do that. For instance, Microtech. I have Microtech out here for a reason, right? Microtech is one of those companies that I really enjoy. They have the new Microtech MSI. It's got the RAM lock in there, which is the Able lock version, or Axis lock with springs in there. It's a little different, and it's patent pending and all that stuff. I really want to order it. They've had a few drops. I've missed it. If they had a pre-order, would I have ordered it? I would have if I'd known it was going to be like a month out pre-order. Yeah, I would have done that. Had they have a waiting list, yeah, I'll get on that waiting list to buy it for sure. You know, definitely. Um, but if it was like I was going to get on a pre-order list and it was going to tell me, yeah, in about a year we're going to have these and you can get it and you just pay us now. No, no, I wouldn't do it. I'm not into waiting that long. And I know some of you guys may think, well, you're not patient. You're impatient. You know, I'm just not in a position where I can tie up funds like that. I have a family, I have kids, you know, I just can't do that, right? And some of these knives that I want to keep, you know, I'll keep, and some of them I don't. I sell so I can buy other knives. You know, I have to have some of these turn inventory. I only get to keep a limited amount of my knives. I don't get to keep every knife I buy. I have to sell some. Sometimes I even give them away. I'll give them away as gifts to family or friends. I've got a 1K thing coming up. I got a plan for a giveaway because I actually got 1,000 subscribers. So thank you. If you guys didn't know that, thank you. If you're one of the subscribers, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll have to do a separate video for that now that I think about it. But, you know, I'm just really grateful for that. But that being said, with pre-orders, I can't tie up funds like that, right? But I would be on a waiting list to buy it when it becomes available. And everything I've heard about it, the reviews, everything's great. So that's something I would do. But I can't type the money for a new design that I don't know anything about, right? It's just not what I'm willing to do. And, you know, from some people will do the pre-order and get frustrated that it's not in. They keep waiting and waiting, and that can be frustrating, especially sometimes you have delays, you know, especially if you're someone who has a beautiful, great new design and you really want to get it. And that beautiful, great new design, they order it and it's delayed and it's got other delays. There's a few knives out there, a couple of designers that are just phenomenal. I would love to get one of their knives. There's a couple of young designers that make some exquisite knives, and I would very, 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 very much love to have ordered one of their knives. But I couldn't wait the whole year for the pre-order. And then when you order them, I mean, it's like such a small drop, such a small window of pre-orders that all of a sudden, boom, you know, you have to the window's gone. You don't get in on it, and then there's a long, long wait. So for me, the way I deal with that frustration is I just don't do it. Yeah, I'd love to get it. I'd love for them to have some extra inventory when it comes in that I can actually buy. But if they don't, it's not going to be one of the grill knives or one of the knives I'm going to be on the hunt for. It'd be one of those, yeah, that's a cool knife. I'd love to have it one day, but I'm probably not going to have it, you know, unless I stumble along and suddenly they have it in inventory. For instance, I had a Vero Engineering. Vero Engineering was very much like that. It was a really hard knife to get a hold of for a long time. And then I was on River's Edge Cutlery, and they had a bunch of Veros on stock, in stock. And I don't think anybody knew about it because, you know, I was like, man, there's a whole bunch available. So I ordered. Of course, they're all sold out now, but man, they had a whole bunch. So I got my first Vero Engineering. Beautiful knife. Loved the knife. Great knife. A lot of engineering ergonomics things about it that I enjoy. Had it for a long time. And then I just realized I didn't carry it. It's not a knife I always wanted to carry. It was cool to look at, but I don't collect knives just to say, hey, that's cool to look at. I carry knives I want to carry. So if I have one of these knives and I stop saying, man, you know, this is a cool knife to look at, but I don't want to carry this, you know, Raptor anymore, I'd probably sell it. Just like if I had this Leon Ma, you know, GSD, I say, that's a cool looking knife. I just don't think I want to carry it anymore. You know what? I'd probably sell it. But you know what? Every time I pick this up, I'm like, I want to carry it. Same thing here. I want to carry it. You know, I do the same thing here. Here's my TRM Atom. I actually put this one up for sale a couple times, just like I did with my smock. And then all of a sudden I realized, you know, I really like this knife. I mean, just everything about this knife, thin blade, action, handle, contour, everything's just, yeah, I'm going to keep this. You know, so I did. I kept it. This one right here, I wasn't sure I was even going to keep this one, right? Oops, it's a big knife. Got to flip it, right? Wasn't sure I was going to keep it, right? And was I, you know, Now I do. I want to keep it. So we'll see. But pre-orders for me and the frustration of waiting is something that there's just so many options out there. There's so many good options. There's so many things to choose from that I don't know if I want to tie up funds in pre-orders because there's other knives that I could buy that are really cool. You got someone like Kunwu Knives comes out, like Tactile Knife Company or Co. Tactile Knife Co. is really what they go by. They have a Maverick coming out now. There's no pre-order for that, and it's one of those knives that I might consider pre-order. But you know what they do? They have a waiting list. Now I'm like 2,000 down on the waiting list, which means I'm probably not going to buy that knife for 6 months or a year or year and a half, right? So I'm way down there on the list. It's going to take a long time before my name comes up. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. But you know what? What I think about it is that, all right, here's a knife. At least they have a waiting list. It means when I come up, there's a chance I could buy it. Now, before that time when I come up on a waiting list, might there be something that has taken that place? I don't know. Kunwa Knives came out with a Pulsar. They had a pre-order for it. I would have done the pre-order in a heartbeat. Had I known, had I gotten over there in time and it sold out and I missed it. It's one of those pre-orders I would have done because it was a very short turnaround. It was like 3 months. And that's a reasonable pre-order to me, very reasonable, especially having owned one of these and say, this is a great knife. Yeah, this is a great knife. Let's do that pre-order. But I missed it. So, there's that. But when they came in, they had a bunch of inventory available. And it is a ram lock or able lock or an axis lock that's similar to what that Tactile Knife Co. Maverick is going to be. It's titanium milled scale, just like the Maverick. Very different knives. I get it. They're very different designs, but it has some of the same feels and some of the things I wanted to get out of it. I don't have a lot of axis lock knives. I have where is it? My Benchmade. I have my Benchmade. It's my one axis lock. I used to have a Doug Ritter one from Hogue. I like that one a lot, but I sold that because I never carried it. I carry this. I do carry this knife. I enjoy carrying this knife. It's a nice knife. I like to carry it on Fridays because it has a little red on it. That always helps, but it's a nice knife. I like it. It's very thin blade, very light. Everything about this knife is good. It's M390, great steel. So this is a knife I'll enjoy carrying, and I will definitely keep in my collection because I carry this. I pick it up and I think, do I want something? No, I'll carry it. And I do carry it. So that's one of those knives. But I think the same will be true with the Pulsar. The Pulsar will probably fall into that same boat. And so I'm looking forward to that. But that Pulsar might meet my need for the Maverick. And if it does, then when my name comes up on the list, I'll pass and let the next person get their knife. Because I kind of met the itch, if you will, or the desire for a Axis able, whatever you want to call it, able lock type of titanium scaled knife. And that one may be it for me. Now, don't get me wrong, that Maverick is gorgeous. Beautiful knife. I mean, you look at the designs and everything about it, it's just looks amazing. But I have a limited amount of knives that I want to keep in my collection because I use them. And the question becomes, if that knife is the lure of that knife strong enough to take me away from one of my other knives, and if it is, absolutely. And that has happened to me. For instance, this one right here, I really enjoy this knife. There's a Trogon out that Brian Brown designed that WE has. Now, this is a Riot made one, and so, Riot and WE, fantastic manufacturing processes. I think Riot might be just a little bit better, right? But they're really close, right? But that one by WE has multiple deployments on the knife. This one really has thumb studs, but if I get my finger in here, I do it right. Okay, got to do this right. I can reverse flick it with my finger, right? Well, I normally can. I don't know why I can't do it right now. That's just kind of weird. So let's try that again. There we go. All right, I just got to get in there. You can reverse flick it. So I have multiple deployments here, but it's not as fidgety as maybe like that Trogon would be. So if I get that Trogon in, and if I get a hold of it because it's a limited edition, I might have missed that opportunity. It's gone. Would I sell this one? Yeah, I probably would. I probably would sell this. And so then I could put the money for this toward that. But, I have this one already, and it's kind of got the same aesthetic of a Brian Brown knife. It's got that kind of smaller handle. It's got the hollow grind. There's not a Tonto necessarily, but it's definitely the hollow grind, kind of a nice slicer and everything. You can definitely use this. But Would I pre-order it? No, we didn't pre-order it, but they had limited edition, so you get into that waiting frustration. That it's maybe not be a pre-order, but still waiting for it to drop, waiting for it to be available, and it's hard to find the one with the fuller in it. So, what do? I can get frustrated, angry. It's not there, blah blah blah, all this other stuff. And I'm not going to go to the secondary market. I'll buy a used one, blah blah blah. No, I can just say this is fine. I like this knife. It's good. It's good. If I run into it and I'll say, oh, okay, well, let's order that, and then let's sell this. That can happen. That's how I deal with that. That's the frustration. How I deal with my frustration with the knife, because I want to enjoy this. I don't want knives to be frustrating for me. All this stuff is enjoyable. I enjoy these knives. I enjoy collecting them, using them. This to me is not a frustration about what I don't have. It's about what I have and how I enjoy it. Now, if I happen to get something new and I enjoy that more, then what I have may no longer be something I want to have, right? Then I'll sell it. But what I have, I want to enjoy, and so that's how I deal with the pre-orders and waiting on things and being frustrated. And then I'm not going to be mad at this company for that, or be mad at that company for this. Getting mad at companies, getting mad at designers, getting mad at people who have pre-orders, getting mad at limited releases. I don't know. It seems like a waste of energy. It seems like a waste of time spent on something that's futile, right? Why not spend that time enjoying the knives you have? Why not spend that time looking for that knife you want to get that's available and get it and enjoy it? Why spend that time so upset? I collect knives because I enjoy this. I enjoy the knife community, but I'm not out there to look for things that make me upset. I'm not out there to look for people who do this or do that. People make mistakes. Good Lord, people make mistakes, right? We all do. I'm going to make mistakes. I know in my videos I've misspoken several times, and many of you guys have corrected me, and I say, hey, thank you. I did say that, and that was wrong. Or, you got me, you're right. I called a Microtech knife a Microsoft knife one time. I mean, seriously. I was working a lot, and I was in Microsoft applications. I do a lot of IT stuff, so I'm in the applications dealing directly, and we're talking Microsoft and all sorts of stuff that pertains to my job. And so saying Microsoft instead of Microtech was very logical if you're talking about Microtech all the time in company meetings, right? So there you go. But I do that. And sometimes I'll misstate, I'll call something a Tonto blade when it's a reverse Tonto, or I'll call something a sheep's foot when it's clearly a Warncliffe or something, or I'll call something a spear point that's not a spear point. It happens, and we make mistakes, right? And we learn, and we we enjoy this stuff. And I think if we can just kind of, hey, that's funny or whatever, and just talk about it and be nice and be friendly and be respectful, I think it's great. So that's why I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to get mad at those designers. I would love to get their knives. I think they're just awesome designs. I think they're great. And I wish I could get hold of one, but they're so limited. You only do certain limited runs. And I'm like, man, it's so frustrating. You would think you would start maybe making a few more if every time if you made 200 and they sold out right away. Maybe you make 300 and they sell out right away. Maybe you go for 400, they sell out right away. At some point, if your stuff is selling out like that, some of those manufacturers got to give you a line of credit. You think that the money is there for them as well as you. They would kind of go, your stuff is pretty good. Maybe we'll give them a line of credit, and we'll run 800 knives next time. You pay us for the 400, and then when you make the revenue on the other 400, then you pay us for the rest. And I don't know how it works. I don't know anything about that business. I wish I did, but I don't. So please, if you know about it and I'm wrong, yeah, hey, share it with me, because I would love to know. I really would. But forgive me for my ignorance if I say something stupid, because I don't. But knowing how business and loan lines of credit work in business, I would imagine how it works in corporations. It's got to work in a smaller scale for people as well, especially if you have an established design and business relationship. Got to imagine some of that stuff somehow at some point gets extended, right? Can't imagine that every knife manufacturer is like cash only. You get nothing unless you give cash up front. Unless they've been burned too many times, I guess, by other knife designers, maybe they have to have that in place. And I don't know anything about that. And if that's the case, I'm so sorry for you great guys out there that do the good job, and you have to pay the punishment for the people who are abysmal failures and never pay their bills and burn everybody else. So I'm sorry about that. But if not, it would be nice to see that kind of stuff done, right? For those good knives that other people would so much like to buy. But I'm not going to get mad. I'm not. I'm going to wish for things. I'm going to hope for things. I'm going to look for things. I'm going to say, hey, maybe there'll be one available, but I'm not going to get mad. I'm just going to find other knives, you know? At some point, you know, ProTech not having a Mordax and never being able to get hold of it, and there's never inventory, you know, I'm going to find an alternative. I think I already have with a Wii Mini Malice. That might be my ProTech Mordax retirement knife, right? It might be gone. You know, if I can't get a ram lock from get one of the MSI Microtech ram lock ones, I'm sure someone's going to come out with a variation of that, and it may not be a ram lock, but be a different variation of that lock that's enough that it doesn't infringe on their patent, but has some aesthetics, ingenuity, design that's variable enough that it's unique. And that might just scratch that itch. Because, you know, here's the reality. You know, when Andrew Demko creates all of his scorpion locks, his shark locks, his back, all his different locks that he's done, it's led to ingenuity and design of other locks. You know, when you know you see Brian Nadeau creating all his sharp eye design, beautiful designs, it impacts other designs. You see, you know, other folks create certain things. Some of the aesthetics are picked up. They're variations, they're new creative takes on them, but that happens. So pre-orders waiting and things that frustrate me, I'm not gonna let that ruin my knife experience and my joy. I'm going to find other things that are out there that I will enjoy, and then you know enjoy what I have until I run across those. And sometimes I may be able to have knives that I can review and unbox and be excited to share with you guys. And sometimes I may not have anything because there's nothing I've run across that has really drawn me in, right? And so, you know, it's been a while. I think this last week or a couple of weeks, I haven't had any knives come in, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, hopefully something will come in this week, right? And then we can have an unboxing, talk about that, be excited about that knife, and see where we stand on it, right? But that's my experience with pre-orders, waiting, and things that frustrate me, and not being mad at companies for this or that. Just enjoy my knife, enjoy what's out there. Now, what's your experience? Do you have unlimited funds that you can order those 30 knives a month and you can pre-order and not worry about it? If that is the case, that's awesome. That's super cool. I don't have that luxury, but if that's your case, cool. Maybe you're one of those guys someday, you like my channel enough, you let me borrow a couple of those knives I could review for, I could use for a review. I would be utterly appreciative of that. I really would. And you know, I know other reviewers have done that, but I would take that very carefully and very, you know, understanding that, you know, all I would do is just look at the knife, open it, review it, you know, deploy it, whatever, unless you say otherwise. I would appreciate that. So if you have some of those knives that I will probably never get a hold of, I would love to use them in a review and have an unboxing and talk about them. But if not, you know, what's your experience? Are you similar? Are you in the same boat? You know, feel free to comment down below. I'd love to hear your experience. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Hey, and if you have any other ideas for other ways and other discussions about this, feel free to share them down below. I'd love to have maybe another Rob's Rambling on those. And if you've listened to me for this last 28, 29 minutes, thank you. But if you've listened this far, would you consider subscribing if you're not already a subscriber? Because if you're listening this long, please subscribe. And if you're listening this long, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. Like the fact that you just stuck in there and listened, whether you agree or disagree with me. Like the fact that we can have the discussion and you can disagree with me. Like the video because maybe you disagree with me 100%. Just like it because it's something you can disagree with, and we're okay with having that discussion. And you can talk to me why you disagree. I would love to hear that. I would like that. And if you like this and you like my content and you want to hear about future content, hit that notification button. That way you'll be notified of upcoming videos. And if you like this and you enjoy this, check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. That's robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.